Do you feel like people may be bringing you down mentally, emotionally, and you're just not feeling so good? You try and do a lot of work on yourself, and it just seems to be knocked back by some kind of environmental influence from others. Well, today I'm going to talk about the power of your peer group and some steps you can take to really make it work in your favor. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point that I want to share with you then as well. If you want to connect with me more personally, you can find my social media links in the show notes below as well. Recently, I had one of my really good mates mention a road trip to me, and it would be with him and another mate. And these guys are guys I've been really good mates with for years. We've been on many holidays together, had some good laughs. I've got to be honest though, I was a little bit hesitant behind it. Now, they want to go to the US, and I absolutely love going to the US. I'm in the UK. If you don't know me, but my ideal life would be to live in the US for half the year and the UK, and I'm going to make it happen. And I was a little bit hesitant on this one because I know that the conversations me and these guys used to have, even though it's great to catch up with them from time to time, want to be in contact, and we have some, good laughs when we catch up, is that sometimes I feel like they're talking about things that don't make me feel so good, and they're not putting me down. Sometimes there's a bit of banter involved and all of that between guys. Yeah, but some of the things I felt, and it's no judgment of them, just don't necessarily serve me. And the thought of hanging out with a couple of guys for like 2-3 weeks when actually some of the conversation and some of the energy or where they're at is not going to serve me, made me kind of a bit hesitant on this. And you shouldn't feel guilty about this. This has been something I felt guilty about, and some people won't understand this, and that's okay. But the power of a peer group really makes a big difference. So yeah, like from time to time, you sometimes have to put up with people you don't like. Now, these guys obviously aren't on the case, or maybe I'm using an example in the workplace. You might have to be hanging out with someone on a team that you don't necessarily get on with, right? Yeah, but the majority of the time, you want to have your peer group working for you. Now, I also got invited to a couple of events next year that's going to include my mentor, Joseph McClendon, and the amazing team I'm blessed to be part of, and I run the team and part of it. And these guys are like high flyers in the personal growth space. They do a lot, and we have this energizing conversations and feel it's so good when I'm around these people. And like they talked about their events, and I'm like, yes, I want to go, right? And spend a week or so in America with them. Right. I went to London the other week. I don't, obviously I'm in the UK, I'm in England, but I don't live in the capital. I travelled to our capital, London, the other day, and I went to a men's group. And these were guys I was surrounded with. We were working on ourselves. We were sharing our emotions, where we want to go. And there was challenge, there was growth, and we could support each other. And I felt so energized by it. My coach was there as well. And I really want to talk about this because it's so, so important. As human beings, we adapt to what's around us the majority of the time. If you're sitting in McDonald's every day, whether that's with people or not, you're likely going to put on a lot of weight. You're not going to be healthy. If you go and go into the gym every day, even you just show up, you're going to get healthy, as long as you're eating well, of course. But by exercising every day, that's going to encourage you more likely to eat healthy. And it's the same with people, I've realized in my life. And Tony Robbins made this great quote. I remember he invested a lot into getting into some good peer groups, and that's going to be something we'll touch on in a minute. But he said, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of your peer group. Now, it's not judging other people who you don't want in your life. It's just energetically, who do you feel you need to be around more often than not? Now, obviously, doesn't mean you can't keep people you don't want out all the time, but you want to be focusing on who you need to be around for your mental health, for your confidence, for your self-esteem. This is something I've discovered in my life, and I have to catch myself from time to time in this as well. And maybe you're getting people who are dragging you down a little bit and it's not feeling so good? Well, we're going to go into a few points now and just ask yourself some questions, and then I'd invite you to take one action from this. So the first question is where I always begin with: where do you want to go? Sit down with yourself, nobody else's agendas, not your friends, not your family, not your parents, nobody else's agenda, not society, nobody else, but where do you want to go? What do you want? Where do you want to go? Right. Do you want to earn more money? Do you want to get into a certain shape? Do you want to get a certain relationship? Where do you want to go? Right. So sit down with yourself and do that. The second one: who adds energy and supports this in your life right now? How are there certain people, like maybe emotionally you've got a target, and there are people that make you feel good emotionally, or like you're looking to earn more money, but there's someone you know who's really good with money and earning money, right? Maybe you want to add them into your life a little bit more and spend more time. So who adds energy to where you want to go? We started with where you want to go because that's the key question. Else we're just going around and asking random questions and going around in circles, right? The third one: where can I find more people that can support me? Maybe the answer to your second one is, I don't have that many people to support me in that. Well, where can you find them? There's more opportunities than ever, and your peer group doesn't always have to be in person. It's great when it is, there's a different energy, but there's so many groups online. Like, where can you find people? Facebook groups, like events on things like meetup.com is a really good one. Like Toastmasters, if you're into like public speaking, there's all sorts of opportunities to go out and meet new people. Like gym classes, that's a good place if you want to meet like fit people, right? Or people looking to get in shape. And then ask yourself the honest question: who doesn't serve me? Now, this doesn't mean like maybe there's a family member that, you know, you're not going to realistically be able to cut out from your life, but maybe they drag you down a little bit from where you want to go. Well, how can you reduce the amount of time you spend with them without judging them and removing them from your life completely? So those are 4 questions that I'd really, really focus on. I've got a final point for you as well. Just before that, I want to mention again, if you want to connect me more on social media, I will leave my links in the show notes below as well. Here's a bonus point I want to share with you: pay for friends. What's that mean? No, it doesn't mean that you can't get any friends unless you pay for them, right? It doesn't mean you're going to random strangers and giving them like a tenner to be your friend for the day or more, whatever, right? This is about this is where I found some of the most powerful peer groups, is by investing into myself, into certain personal growth groups, into masterminds, into all sorts. The friends I've made there, because people who are investing into themselves are also going to be there, right? Now, people say, oh, I can't afford to invest in myself. Yet people do stupid things like spend money on rubbish they don't need all the time, on like nights out, on meals out, on clothes they don't need. So, you know, find a way to invest in yourself. You know, it doesn't have to be expenses. Are there like £25,000 masterminds out there, or plus 50,000, £100,000 mastermind? Yes, but you can get something a lot less. But for me, going into groups where I've invested in myself has paid so much return. The company I currently work for, I invested into them, and it wasn't a massive amount. It was a couple of thousand, I think, at the time. And now I'm basically a leader of the team, and I have all these hugely successful people and where I want to go, like coaches and speakers and mentors, and my hero, Joseph McClendon, around me, just because I invested into this group. So the power of investing into yourself to find people is really, really powerful. Now, you're also not going to, when you invest into groups, you're not going to find people who are like, oh, I'm not going to pay money to grow myself, because they've invested in themselves to be there, right? And also people if talking about money, if you hang out with people who are broke and talk about money in a negative way, that's going to rub off on you as well. So investing in yourself to find better quality peer groups is also really, really important. Okay, surrounding yourself with the right people. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. And remember, lead with your heart, not with fear.